Mhm.
Okay, going. Yeah. Oh, we are live. Hello, I am Karen Ray. I am from the Fave Lifestyle and Biz Society, and also launching our new marketplace app. And we'll talk a little bit about that at the end here. But I have a fabulous guest with me, Jackie Cote. She is a coach. She talks about living the freedom and the life that you want, and helps you create that vision, and not just creating that vision, but implementing it, owning it, and all these wonderful things. So today, Jackie, welcome. Good to have you here.
I'm so excited to be here, especially with you, and your people are amazing. So I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having
Yes.
me.
You bet. And you know what? We're just going to have a casual conversation today. We're just going to talk a little bit because you are living the life of freedom that that you've envisioned for yourself. I mean, you are putting it into practice. You are living it every day. So let's talk a little bit about that because we're going into the fourth quarter. It's October, and what is this going to look like for us? And also, as you're planning for the new year, how can we have that life adventure and freedom that maybe we've had a little nudge in our brain about? And so, Jackie, just tell us first of all to introduce yourself and just tell us a little bit about you, and then we'll talk a little bit more about living that life of freedom and what that looks like.
Awesome. Well, I'm a freedom mentor, and I really just that came to fruition for me through the lifestyle that I have created over the last couple of years. But I gotta be honest, visioning in the beginning was really difficult when I started on my 3 years ago. I started my like coaching and my self development journey and stuff, and they were like, "Vision the future," and I was like, "I don't know, like what is that?" Like you get in this moment of like, I don't know, and so I just want to give everybody a little grace on that. Like, so if someone says like, look at the vision, and like if you can't, you get to start with a vision like that's this, and then it gets to expand, and the context of the vision gets to get bigger over time and expand and get larger. But don't beat yourself up if you're like, I can't think of tomorrow, like let alone like a year from now, 5 years from now, and stuff like that. Because this vision that I'm currently living, that Karen spoke about, of RV living. I'm a full-time RVer. I don't have a home. We don't have a home base. We live full-time in a 44-foot box with my boyfriend and two dogs. And we've been in this for about 15 months and traveling around, but this was never on the vision board. But what was on the vision was in my vision was travel, experiences. And when COVID hit, we're like, we can't do that via plane. How do we do this? That's when we started just kind of watching RV America. It was like a TV show. It's like a 30-minute series. And that kind of intrigued us. We're like, well, families are doing this with kids. And then they just had all these examples of it. And so my point of telling you about that is that like, just be open to seeing what other people are doing, that, and if something sparks a little, that looks really cool, that feels really good, that sounds like it would be fun. And that's what we saw and felt. And then we had a conversation. We were like, so do we want to travel? So do we want to do it this way? And then we went and looked at RVs, and then we bought an RV. And fast forward today, he's got 4 kids. His last kid went into the Marines. We were like, all right, bye bye, Virginia. And so we jumped in an RV and left about a year and 3 months ago. So my point is that it doesn't always look the way you think it's going to look. The how and the when will show up. There's a lot of trust and faith on the front end of just what would be yummy, what would be fun, what would be pleasurable to do. Like what did you really love? We actually loved camping when we were kids, both of us.
Uh-huh.
And then we realized like, oh, well, we could do this. And let me put it, you know this, Karen. We're glamping. We're not camping. Like we've got like a fireplace, we've got a couple porches on the side. It's like a really nice unit, you know. So I'm not roughing it anywhere like you think when you're a kid. But it's just added so much pleasure to my life in the last year.
Yeah.
Of just even this morning, I was out walking the dogs, and this big elk was like running through like where I was, and I'm like, it's in my backyard. Like what? You know, sunsets, sunrises, and mountains, and yeah, I see more of the beauty now because of this journey. So
Wow. And isn't that interesting? I mean, it just kind of sparked with this little vision, like you were saying. And I think, we get hung up on that because as a woman going through transitions, or, maybe we are in a space where we feel stuck or whatever. And sometimes it's really hard to see that vision. But I
mhm.
like how you said, just start small.
Mhm.
And so what are maybe some what are maybe some questions you can just start asking yourself to kind of get those creative juices going, and not because I think sometimes we have to think, oh, well, that wouldn't be possible because we have these restrictions or whatever,
Mhm.
but to open your mind to maybe what is possible, what could be fun. So what kind of
Mhm.
questions would you start asking yourself to just start that discussion within maybe in your own brain?
So one of the things that it's a question, but also like a way of putting yourself into the vision. So for example, I love being near water. And eventually I want a lake house with a mountain view, and that's in my vision. And I can picture the whole property. And of course, my property gets larger because I have an RV. It keeps getting larger. I'm like, I have an RV campground on one side. I've got like a restaurant on the other. Like, so it just keeps getting larger. But originally it was like a lake. I just wanted a lakefront property with a mountain view. And then when some of you might know my story, but like I got let go from my job, and then that's what catapulted me into my business. And so we moved into a community that had a lake. And because I'd mentioned I wanted that. And then we moved to a community, and then I would take my books and my laptop and I'd go down to the lake and I'd pretend it was mine. So I'd sit, wasn't mine. It was a picnic bench and a table and with a gazebo next to water. And so I'd sit there and I would be like, I love my lake house. Like this is my porch. And I would stare and I would do my work from there. And that it got into like my brain is like, this is real. This is true. This gets to happen. And that's fed into our travels big time with the
Yeah.
RV, like placing ourselves near water. And so some questions you can ask is like what I go back to childhood. I love, what did I really love to do as a kid? Like I used to pretend I was like a chef extraordinaire with like mud and rocks. And then I got my little easy bake oven, and I'd make the most
Yeah.
fabulous like things in my easy bake oven. And right, and so I love to cook, and so that is a very included in like the things that I do. I loved teaching, go figure. I'd set up classrooms and I'd create little papers, and
Oh,
I loved we loved taking we did take a camper down as kids. Like we would go travel with the camper down to Florida and different areas. So what were some of the things you love that you don't do anymore? And
oh,
so how could you tap back into doing those again? And a lot of times we want to make the reasons why we can't do something or the reasons why we should be doing it. So for example, I know a lot of reasons like, well, I have kids and we have this and we have that. Well, how can you do it? Do it for a day. Go away for a day. Go away for 2 days. It doesn't have to be this like like don't have to jump in a camper like I did, but it doesn't have to be a long month or this and that. It just go for a day and experience it. We could do one overnight camp if camping's your thing, just an example. But do an overnight. If luxurious hotels and fun and like going and traveling and having a pool outside
oh,
your back, go do that for a day. Like I tell women all the time, you want a me day? Go take a day or two and don't take a weekend and go and do it and get room service and do the
oh,
thing, like go sit by the pool,
pampered. Yeah.
squishy robes and
Ooh,
slippers and so putting yourself into what it is that you desire and having trust that when it's meant to happen, it'll happen. But it won't until you tap into it. It never will if you don't tap into
yes.
the energy of it.
Do you think just giving yourself permission to dream a little bit and to
Yes.
step in? And I love how you said that to it, go and experience it, even if it's just for a moment. Like one of the things that I love to do is, and that I enjoy with my one of my sons is just a fancy dinner. So we did that for his birthday. And I just sat there and I said, it's just the ambiance. It's just
Mm-hmm.
the people waiting on you, and everybody's kind of dressed just a little bit nicer. And, it's just the experience and the
Mm-hmm.
feeling that goes with that. And I know you talk a lot about that, about it include the feeling into your vision.
Mm-hmm.
So talk a little bit on that.
it we The thing that helps rewire the neural pathways in our brain, we have neural pathways that have been created over time through the experiences and the beliefs, which creates the thoughts, the feelings, the actions, and the results in our life.
Mhm.
And that is something, a thought model that I teach within my programs. But it's what we think that like if we just like say that I am this, da 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 da, like the I am statements, the affirmations, they're great, but if there's no feelings, feelings create change. Like when you feel something and what rewires the neural pathway is repetition with elevated emotion. So when you combine repetition with elevated emotion, this can go both ways. So when we're creating more stuff that we don't want in our life, it's because we have this elevated emotion of maybe it's anxiety or anger or frustration or whatever, and we're compounding it. So we're creating a neural pathway that says this bee loves me. Every time I'm on the screen, the bee, I'm outdoors all the time, guys. So anytime you see me like on a podcast, I'll be outdoors, but this one bee here loves me. So anyway, I talk to it. I'm like, not today. I'm on a call. Could you just come visit me later? So I talk to him and I say, not today. And he still comes by and he wants to hang out with me. You can see him there. Anyway, so when we're hold on, where was I? He distracted me.
Me too. I'm like, oh, where is he?
He was like literally like right here in my face.
About feeling your vision and
yeah. So, oh my goodness,
elevated emotion.
Yes, thank you. Rewiring the neural pathway takes elevated emotion and repetition. So when we do I am statements or when we do affirmations, like if you're not feeling what it is, it doesn't bring an elevated emotion. It doesn't matter how much you repeat it. You're just doing it because someone told you to do it. That doesn't work. So this and that's where we have to really aware of like, what are we saying to ourselves? What's the video or what's the ongoing reel in your brain, and how can you change that to like create an elevated emotion that serves the future version of you? And this elevated emotion can come from like for me, it's like when I think about mountains and nature, and I'm not this like by the way, I'm not this like massive hiker who's like I drive to the top of the mountain. I'm not like hiking like the 4,000. I drive to the top of the mountain. I drive to the lake, but I still do small walks around it and stuff. But that nourishes me. Like I could die tomorrow, and the life that I've lived today, I'm just so happy and joyful with it. And that's the energy that is creating more of that in my life, and that's the repetition of it. So now my brain has a new neural pathway that says, this is what is meant to be happening. This is what Jackie loves. And we're going to create more of that. We're going to find more ways to make this true for Jackie because I've now made it a new neural pathway and a belief.
I love that. And look at all the places you've gone in this last year, all those lakefront properties, all those mountain views, all these beautiful, beautiful spaces, and the people that you get to meet along the way too, just seems to create this new energy and new vision for you. So, oh, how beautiful is that? So yeah, so living that vision. So you talk a lot about time, money, freedom. So what does, and to me, I guess I sometimes get stuck, and maybe some other people do too, about what does like freedom mean? What does that look like? I guess creating that vision around that, and maybe it reflects back onto some of the other things you said too. But what did that? Not just a vision to be by a lake or whatever. I mean, is that what you thought freedom was, or how would you describe when you're kind of pursuing the freedoms in your life? What does that look like?
So it's funny. That's a great question, by the way. So freedom can be construed as initially, it's like if I have more money, I'll have more freedom. If I have more time, I'll have more freedom. And those are the two main ones. That is really, really like what we desire. But the core and the foundation to any of the freedoms that are external things is the internal freedom to love and feel safe and feel like you belong internally with nothing else. And so that's the true freedom. And so that's why when I work with my pillars, I know I've mentioned to you before, the awaken, empower, and own. I'm really passionate about helping somebody because true freedom comes from within. And then that helps you create the external of what it is you desire. And so how can you get more in tune with awakening the vision inside, awakening all of because everything we need and to accomplish our desires and our dreams, it's already within us. We already have it inside of us. We technically don't need any more knowledge or this or that. Yes, does it help? It helps you figure out other vehicles to get you there. But you have everything that you need inside of you already. It's just either dormant or it's not there's a belief that it's not worthy or enough or something like that.
Mm.
And so once we awaken that and then we empower that, we empower what we've woken up, and that's through boundaries and communication and loving yourself profusely, like undeniably, unapologetically. And then it's owning, like once you find her, when she comes out to play, you got to own the heck out of her, and you show up in the world just so this just gets me so passionately of who you are, and no apologies necessary, like unfiltered, unapologetic, all of that. That's true freedom.
Jackie, love it. Love it. So, and people talk a lot about loving you, who you are, but I am coming to find out too that maybe even before you get to that point, just accepting who you are sometimes. And I just love that. And we do have somebody here watching, and she said, you have to feel it in your soul, and just, these different things and that freedom, but to take you along those to what that freedom looks like. I love this description about recognizing and loving who you are, and then owning it, because it's like three different pieces. It's that awareness, and then it's like, oh, here we are. And I love it to show how you are going to show up and play.
She's dying to come out and play. We just don't let her. We don't give her permission, like you said earlier.
Yes. And, I think we just get so stuck with society rules of how we should show up and what we should be doing, especially as women entrepreneurs, because we're trying to figure out, as we get started, what does that look like? And what if we just showed up as us?
Yeah. And the biggest pivot in my business was when I finally learned how to stand in trust and surrender the outcome, because we want to know, okay, how and when and this and that, and we want to measure up, and when you release that pressure and you really come from this place of like pleasure on the front end and trust that it's all happening and on its time. It could happen in 3 days. It could happen in 3 years. But I just had a conversation with a client this morning, and she's like, I've got so many ideas, because she's been with me for 3 years. I was like, get your notebook, write all your ideas in your notebook, because everything's meant for you. If you desire it, it's meant for you. We just can't predict the order or the timing of everything. And can you just trust? And then you get pleasantly surprised when something shows up way quicker than you think, and it's like, but here's another piece that came up for me just now, Karen. It's you have to be willing to receive it. So you can believe it, you can achieve it, and then this is what we do. We're like, and it bounces off, and it bounces off, and it bounces off. And it's like, if you're not willing to receive the goodness of God, universe, whatever it is that you're asking for, because there's something about like some story, something like blocking it, then it's been trying to come. It's been trying to land in your bank account or land into your life or create the love, but you won't receive it. So receiving is a whole nother topic.
Wow. Trusting, surrendering, and receiving. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm not sure, but I think this talk was directed to me today. I'm like, oh my gosh. How did you know I needed to hear this today? Oh my word. This is
that I didn't know. He knew. Whether it's God or universe, I connect every time before I get on a call with somebody, and I say, whatever's meant to happen, please let it happen. Yeah, for all involved.
Because we can get so stuck in the weeds, if you will. We're building these businesses or living life or doing whatever, and we get down here, and you're bringing us back up to see this, like I always call it kind of an arc, a rainbow. To step up above, to be that CEO, to be in this higher space and looking down and receiving all that goodness. And that's kind of where I see you have to kind of be, is just take yourself out of the muck and the mire, and let's go see and bring that girlfriend out to play and see what beauty you can create in those other spaces, and just take a little different view from a little higher point there. And obviously, what it is, you need somebody to guide you, because we need that reminder. weekly reminders of where we're going, to bring us back out again and to help guide us along that path, and to keep that awakening and that owning and that receiving going, because
Mhm.
it can, those doors can shut so quickly, and we
Mhm.
just want to
Mhm.
guide, and that's why we have coaches. So if, ladies,
Mhm.
if you have never had a coach, I challenge you to invest in yourself
Mhm.
and work with Jackie or one of the ladies who resonates with you, and in whatever place you are in life, because it is life changing. It helps you become live your best life. And it's not
Mhm.
just creating it. It helps you, like you were talking about, accepting who you are. So Jackie, oh my gosh.
I Something that you just said, and I just want to reiterate it to the public watching. It's that yes, we need the support, and you get to. I interviewed a bunch, like in the beginning, and for me, it was an energetic match. It was, and I didn't understand energy at the time either. But when
Mm.
I'd met like 4 or 5 coaches, and I talked with them, and I really wanted to know like who energetically do I want to hang out with, do I want to be with.
Yeah.
It's really important because we're all powerful and like what we bring to the table and this and that, but if it's not aligned, it's really and you're gonna have some that you're gonna like run across that you might work with for a little bit and go, that wasn't the right fit, but that's okay because we learn from everything and there's nothing's lost, nothing's wasted, everything's happening exactly for us. But I want you to just like kind of go, does this feel good? um and be open to, and here's the biggest part. When I got a coach, I was like, teach me how to open up a business, like teach me how to do a coaching business, strategy. Can I tell you, for the first year, 9 months to be exact, the last 3 months I finally awakened to it, she cracked me like a walnut, and I did all the inner healing. And I know you've gone through this, like there was so much inner stuff that I didn't realize was the thing holding me back from the business. So 80% of it's between
Mhm.
here, and only 20% is the business strategy. So ensure that you're working with people, and this could be multiple people or multiple groups like yours, that help you with both sides. and
Yeah.
and, and strategy only takes you so far. It's really like, this is the piece that really changed my life and healing in here.
Yes. And Jackie, do you think that as you start owning and running your business and to grow it, to become that CEO, to become that leader, that this part and your heart and the inner work is actually more important than some of the skills that you can, the technical skills you
Absolutely.
can gain?
Absolutely. Like, I see there's a journey in the and tell me if you can relate to this. There's a journey in the self-development world. Like, there's going to be a part when you just start into it and everything. There's going to be a lot of ahas, awakenings, healings. You're going to battle the strategy to the mindset, like stuff like that. And you need a coach who's going to teach you, like teach you. And then there's a point where you end up healing and learning all the things, the strategy, like you're talking about. And then there's a point you need mentorship versus coaching. You need somebody who can help you balance the energies, help you understand, see what you can't see when it comes to the inner game and that stuff. And there's a shift. You no longer need to know the how. There's going to be, some of you might be listening and you're already past the how point. Most of us already know the how, but it's the mentorship and the walking side by side with women. It's all of that that actually helps take you to the next level. It has
Yeah.
nothing to do with strategy because we already know there's just other things that are stopping us from doing the how.
Right. So yes. And so really what I see, because I have worked with you and you are more of a mentor. You
Mm-hmm.
actually help grow the person. And that, I love how you put that, because I think a lot of people think, oh, well, I have a coach because I have this problem and I need to get over this problem. But I like
Mm-hmm.
how you said that, to have that mentor. And we should all have mentors. You should have a business mentor, a personal development mentor, in these different, and maybe a spiritual mentor, or whatever that looks like for you. These different people who help take you to that next level or help you
Mm-hmm.
grow within. I just love that. I'm glad you mentioned that, because I think a lot of times people don't actually realize what maybe a coach can do for them. And there's different coaches for different
Mm-hmm.
things in life.
Absolutely.
But to
Absolutely.
but to grow that vision, you need somebody to help open up your mind
Mm-hmm.
and how to grow that. So
Yeah, and you've probably heard me say the saying before. Like, there's a label outside of us that we can't see because we're living in the jar. And so when you have, right? So if I was in this cup, I wouldn't be able to read this. So that's what mentors and coaches and other people can help help you read the outside ingredients of your jar to help you go, oh, but the most important part of coaching is that nobody is sitting there trying to tell you what to do, that they're actually helping you think for yourself so that you can create your own way of being and who you're becoming. And yes, there's things you can try and experiment with and go out and do the strategy side until you find what's aligned. But ultimately, mentors help you get back to you and figure out what it is that you can't read on your label and help you pull it out and create your own recipe of who you're meant to be in this world and who you're meant to become and where your magic really lies. It's not me. It's not Karen's way. It's not my way. It's not any other coach's way. It's got to be yours. And that's what I love helping people do.
Yes. And that goes back to that trust piece, to trust who you are and your own decision making and stepping into your own, to trust to be able to do that. Rock on.
I love that video.
Yes, isn't this great? Okay, so let's just recap, just do a quick recap of what we chatted about just as we close out here. And then tell the ladies how they can connect with you.
I mean, one of the biggest recap I would say is to just stop waiting to turn that vision, that freedom vision, or those desires that you're like, I don't know, like stop waiting and let it happen and step into it. And it doesn't have to be a this or that. I think a lot of times we hold back from our visions and dreams because we think we're going to have to sacrifice this over here or not be a great mom or not do this or not do that. And it's not true. It gets to be a this and that. Like it gets to all. I was just talking to somebody about like, and if you have another kid, you get to have a nanny because you've prepared yourself and you get to have you get to do it differently and you get to think differently and have it all. And so stop putting it on hold. And if you need support with that, then most coaches, including myself, will do a first assessment call with you and just really assess like where you're at, where do you want to go? And from there, I'll be the first to tell you what the right fit is. And if it's not me, I'll direct you to the right person because I know thousands of people now in that realm, right? And all of us have different realms of what we do. I have 3 different layers. I have a membership and I have a mastermind and I have one-on-one coaching. And then I do pop-up programs here and there for specific things. Yeah. And so, did you ask like where to reach me? It's pretty much
how to connect with you. Mm-hmm.
I have Jackie Cote basically on Facebook, on Instagram. It's Jackie Cote Coaching on Instagram and LinkedIn, but Facebook is my personal digital diary. And I know it's where if you want to experience my travels, my business, my silliness, like who I am and my energy. It's a great way to get to know my energy if you want to be in it, is just let's be friends on Facebook. And feel free to message me and say, oh, I heard you on Karen's show, and I want to get to know you. I want you to get to know me. And from there, if you want to get on a call, let's do it.
Fabulous. I love it. And people I love how they can come and experience your life because you are living it. And and for me, it kind of helps me grow my vision a little bit. It's like, oh, look what she's doing. I can live a little bit vicariously. And it's like, oh, you mean I could go do something like that, or I could go do this or that. So it's just wonderful, Jackie. Thank you for sharing your life with us and sharing your gifts and your talents. And I just encourage the ladies to reach out and say hello to you and meet you.
I want to say one thing based on what you just said. Thank you for saying that, because when I show up in the world, like that is my main mission, is for you to see something in what I'm doing or who I'm being that makes you want to do a little more for yourself.
Absolutely.
Like experience life a little more. So thank you for saying that.
Yes. And having all those wonderful feelings to go with it. So, All right, ladies, it is such a joy to have Jackie here today. And we are just tapping into the gifts and the wisdom of our members here in the Fave Business Society, and super excited to be launching our new marketplace app that's going to be coming out in the next couple weeks. I'm coming full circle with sharing all of my favorites with all of you, and it's going to be right there at your fingertips. I will let you know when that's coming out, but if you would like to be a part of that, if you are a woman entrepreneur, I have a gift of a 1-month trial membership for you to come and experience Fave at its best. So come join us, and we will see you next time. Bye now.